Good afternoon, children. Hope, children, you would have had your lunch and now you are ready for my class. So, children, please don't go to sleep and be active and take out your books. So, first today, let us start with revision of what we have done in our previous class. That means we will do the concluding revision of the chapter Federalism so that you can do your question answers. Children, in our previous class, we discussed about what is federalism. That we discussed the definition of federalism. Then we discussed about the features of federalism, and in that features, children, if it comes in exam, please listen carefully. If the direct questions come in exam, what is federalism and discuss its features. This question mostly it comes for 5 marks and it can come for 3 marks also. Just listen, just understand the difference. If this question comes for 3 marks, what you have to do? You have to just define it and write only 3 features. It is general awareness, common sense. But then also then you do mistake. But if this question, children, comes for 5 marks, what you have to do? You have to define federalism and you have to write all the 5 points. If you write less than 5 points, you will not get full marks. So you have to give definition also and you have to write all the points what we have discussed. I think all of you must have revised what are the features. I had explained you various features like two-tier or more than two-tier. Then we discussed about different tiers have the jurisdiction. Then we discussed about mutual trust and understanding. Each tier is autonomous, different revenue system. I think all of you must be remembering. So these are the features of federalism. Then children we discussed about two roots of federalism. In that we discussed coming together federalism and holding together federalism. Coming together we discussed, I have given you the points in my notes also, the difference between coming together and holding together. Coming together means these are just certain federations which have come together. For what purpose? Their aim is to form a single federation. And these federations which have come together, they've come together why? For their identity. As they were small, they wanted the identity, they wanted the security, and that's why they have combined in the single federation. As they've combined themselves, as they've come together for the security, for the identity, they are known as coming together federation. Then we discussed about holding together federation. In holding together, we discussed about the different countries like India, Spain, they have been holding together in which the government is divided between central government and state government like federal system. And in that, central government is more powerful than state government. Though they are independent of each other, but then also central government is more powerful as we see in the case of India. So we discussed about holding together federation examples for India and Spain. And in coming together federation, examples like USA, Switzerland, Australia, these are the examples of coming together federation. So from this also a question can come in two ways. The first way is what are the different roots of federalism? And then it can also come differentiate between holding together and coming together federation. Children, the answer will be same. Don't get confused at the time of exam because always you do mistake in understanding the question. So please try to understand the question. Questions are different but the answers are same. Okay. Now this is the second part that we discussed, that is coming together and holding together. The next was we discussed about how federalism or no, then we discussed about what makes India a federal country. In that we discussed the three lists, that is the division of power between union list, state list and concurrent list. And the next we discussed was residuary powers. After that we discussed about how federalism is being practiced in our country. And we discussed it with the three components. And first was linguistic states, language policy and central state relationship. And the last part that we discussed was decentralization. In decentralization, we discussed what is decentralization, how it was implemented in 1992, and in decentralization, we discussed about Panchayati Raj, and in Panchayati Raj, we discussed that local self-government was divided into two parts, rural local self-government and urban local self-government. In rural local self-government, we discussed about panchayats, block samiti, and zilla parishad. And in urban local self-government, we discussed about municipal corporations and municipal councils. And lastly, we discussed about the limitations or the loopholes which are still found in implementation of Panchayati Raj or local self-government and how those loopholes or can be removed and an ideal Panchayati Raj can be established in our country. So this was just the summary of the whole lessons. Questions I've already told you in my video and I will give you the list also that what questions you have to do. Now today this chapter has been concluded. Just have revised what we have done and we'll start with the introductory part of the new lesson. That is lesson number 4, gender, religion and caste. Children, today I'll just give you introduction of what we have to do in this lesson. Children, what is this lesson? Gender, religion, caste. These words, I think all of you know the literal meaning of gender. You know the literal meaning of religion, you know the literal meaning of caste. We are going to discuss all these three things, gender, religion and caste, in context of politics. That how these things are practiced in the political arena in our country, in politics in our country. So children, first I will just describe you in short what we are going to study. We are going to study in this lesson regarding gender, how gender discrimination is done in our country, how we discriminate not only in our country but throughout the world between male and female. We'll discuss about patriarchal society, division of work between male and female, how women in our country and throughout the world are exploited. What are the different ways in which women are exploited in our country? I think all of you know very well, you are seeing in the news also. We'll also discuss about the patriarchal society, that which type of patriarchal society India is having. We'll discuss about the movement that was started in the world to remove this gender discrimination or to give or to more powers to women or to uplift the women. The name of that movement was feminist movement. We'll discuss in detail when we start discussing gender issue that what is this feminist movement and how this feminist movement was raised throughout the world which led to the upliftment of women in our country. We'll discuss all these things in detail when we will take up this part of the lesson. After gender issue, we'll discuss about religion, that how religion affects politics in our country. In this part of religion, we'll discuss about what were the views of Gandhiji regarding intermixing of religion and politics. After religion, we'll discuss about, in religion, we'll also discuss about that what changes have come in our country in practicing of religion in our country. We'll discuss about views of Gandhiji. After religion, we'll discuss about communalism. That what is communalism? I think all of you must be aware about the term communalism. Daily you are seeing in the news channels, it is nothing new to you, that how different communities in our country are having differences among each other and how these differences create violence in our country, create differences in the mind of different communities. And in our country, you know very well that in majority Hindus are there, in minorities different communities like Muslim, Christian and Sikhs are there. How our politicians create a difference among these people, or how intermixing of politics and communalism is done in our country, and how it leads to disturbance in our country. All these things we will study regarding communalism. We'll also study about how communal politics is practiced in our country and what are the different ways, what is the most important weapon through which communalism can be removed in our country. And children, you know very well the weapon I had already taught you in class 9 regarding secularism. We'll discuss in detail about that, how secularism leads to removal of communalism in our country and how peace can prevail in our country. After discussing communalism, we'll discuss about casteism, that how casteism was practiced in a country in past. We'll discuss about in short about Varna system, how there was caste based division, how people worked according to the caste. You know very well, you have studied in history that it was divided into different castes. People worked according to the caste, but as development took place, as industrialization took place, literacy rate increased. Now there is no such division. People with different castes, there is no limitation that if you belong to particular caste, you have to do that work. Anyway, one can do whatever he wants. He have studied in class 9, right to do its own profession. Everyone has got the right in fundamental rights. Whatever work he or she wants to do, they can do. So we discussed in casteism regarding Varna system. We'll also discussed about that what changes have come in a society after many years after independence. We'll see that if a person who was living before independence, if he comes back in a country and sees that what changes has taken place, drastic changes has taken place in our country. Caste system has not been totally removed, but we see that reduction has been done. And for that, our different social reformers, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, then Periyar Ramaswamy, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, they have played a very important role in removal of caste system in our country. So we'll see about how caste system has been reduced in our country. Then we'll also see about how caste and politics is practiced, how caste and politics is intermixed with each other, and what are its demerits. We'll also discuss about caste and politics in caste. In that we'll see that how during elections a different leaders they on the name of caste they ask vote to the people, though they don't have any merit, they don't have leadership quality, they are corrupted, then also they win in elections due to the particular caste. So we'll study about how caste and politics is intermixed. And in the last part of the lesson we'll study about how politics is practiced in the caste. So all these things we are going to study about gender, religion and caste in this lesson one by one, and after completing this we'll just end with how these different issues can be removed. So this is in short the introduction of the lesson. So today first let us take up with the first point, that is gender issue. We'll discuss the first point, and in the next lesson, next video, next class, we'll discuss the second topic. So we shall start with the first subtopic, that is gender. How gender discrimination is done in our country. Now children, you know very well that in our country, gender means male and female. And you know very well, now also it is continued, though some changes have taken place, but generally it is believed that male members, they go out and earn for the families, and female member, they do the household work, they take care of the children, they look after the house, and they are responsible for household work. For that they are not paid. So this division of labor is there. Male, they work out, they earn for the family, and female members, they work for them. So this is the sexual division of labor that is done in our country. But children, you can take various examples that though the male members, they know how to cook, they know how to wash clothes, they know the different household work, but then also they don't perform. You know, the best chefs are the male members. They are the best tailors. They are the best washermen. But when it comes that they have to do this work at home, they don't do it. They say that this is the work of the woman. Generally, this is the mentality of our country. The division of work is there. But now, children, certain changes have come. In our country, female members, women are also working outside. They are also employed. And that is why the male members, they are sharing the responsibility. But then also, though they are just sharing the responsibility, they don't take total responsibility. Though the women are earning, but then also they are told that they have to look after the home also. Earning is additional. It is not said that if you are earning, you don't have to do the work. So this division of work is there. Male members, they do The official work, they work outside, they earn for the family, and female members, they do the household work. And children, especially in our country, now we'll discuss about patriarchal society. Our Indian society is patriarchal society. Patriarchal society is male-dominated society. Mostly all the decisions in our country are taken by male members. In any family, female members can just advise. Still this mentality is there. Female members just they can give advice, but the major decisions are taken by the male of the family. He said that he is the head of the family. Whatever he says, everyone has to follow. In some families, father takes decisions. In some family, grandfather takes decisions. And female members, they just sit, they advise. But ultimately, they follow whatever male members do. In our country, you know that the surname, the title of any person is on the name of the father. That means the major importance is given to the male. And our society is known as patriarchal society. But certain changes have to be done in this also. Equality should prevail. So this gender issue is there in our country. Children, now we'll discuss that how this gender issue is raised throughout the world. And today we see at present the condition of women has improved in our country if we compare to the past. In past you can take India also, Parda system prevailed, Sati system was there, and many other evil practices, social evils were present in our country. Throughout the world also you have read in class 9 that women were not having right to vote. They were exploited throughout the world. So children, this exploitation was not tolerated for many years. Women throughout the world, they were united themselves. In different countries, they united, they met with each other, they held a meeting and they decided that we have to do something to remove all this exploitation which was done to them and to maintain their dignity in the society. And a revolution started throughout the world for upliftment of women. And this revolution was known as feminist movement. Children, you know, freedom movement. Movement means any work which is done for removal of any type of exploitation in society. And movement means it is not done by single people. It is done by the group of people who are being exploited. So this movement was started by the group of women throughout the world. They united and they decided that we have to do something for upliftment. And the movement which was started throughout the world, this movement was known feminist movement. So children, please remember, always the question comes in exam, what is feminist movement? It is written in your book also. If you have opened your book, just the definition of feminist movement is given, you underline it. What is feminist movement? What is patriarchal society? All these things are given in your NCERT book. You don't have to search anywhere. So feminist movement was started throughout the world for upliftment of women. And you know, different changes have come place in our country throughout the world. Now you know that except few countries like Saudi Arabia, women are having right to vote. Women are employed in the high post. They are literate. They have right to equality. They can just express their views. Then they have got different rights. But children, one thing that is very important for women for its upliftment, that is woman political representation. Until and unless women do not get political representation, she will not be able to raise her voice. And political representation does not mean that in a country, suppose Mrs. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister. After becoming Prime Minister, she could solve all the problems of women of India. No. Problem cannot be solved just by becoming Prime Minister of the country. Problem can be solved when in our parliaments, either state or center, at least 50% seats are there for women. In our parliament, if 50% male members are there, 50% of female members should be there, because if these representatives are women, they can frame policy and programs in support of women. They can they can pass a law, they can pass a bill which supports the woman, which removes the problem of woman. So for removing the problem of women, for uplifting women, what is required? The first, woman political representation. Until and unless women will not be politically represented, we will not get equality in politics, we cannot solve the problem not only in India but throughout the world. So to solve the woman's problem, to uplift women, the first and foremost thing that should be done is women political representation. And in our country, we are trying, our government is also trying to give reservations for women. We are demanding reservation, and this reservation has been implemented at the local level. This reservation has been implemented at the panchayat level, but still it is not implemented in the Indian Parliament, in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So our next work should be, reservation should be given. So children, for today we have discussed the gender issue. We'll take up other issues in the next class, and your work will be to make at least 5 MCQs from the taught portion and revise whatever I have taught you. So we'll continue in our next class. Thank you, children.